Hello, and welcome to this webinar on Chamber Membership Statistics. I'm Sarah Melby, Director of Information and Research on the HERO team here at ACCE, and I'm happy to welcome you to our webinar today, where we will examine Chamber membership statistics such as member retention, dues models, and more from fiscal year 2017 survey data. We will use a demo chamber today as an example, and I will be showing you how your chamber can apply the stats for benchmarking and comparisons. I'll also show you how to access and use the flexible personalized reports and charts in dynamic chamber benchmarking, which is an exclusive benefit of your ACCE membership. So before we begin, I have just a few housekeeping items. First, all attendees are in listen-only mode during the webinar to avoid background noise. And if you have a question, just use the question function in the webinar panel. We will have time for questions at the end of the webinar today. Second, we will have that time reserved for questions at the end of this webinar. And again, just use the question box at the lower right-hand corner of your screen. So you can type in your question and we will see them and then read the question aloud and provide an answer again when we get to the end of the presentation. If we run out of time to answer all of the questions that come up during the webinar, I will be sure to answer individually after the webinar is over. And then third point, this webinar is being recorded and it will be up on the ACCE website within the next day or so, along with our handouts. And you can also access the handouts for today, including the presentation file PowerPoint and our HERO tip guide right there in your webinar panel. And then also with me today is Susan McGuire, Manager of Professional Development and Programs, and she'll give a brief welcome today too. Susan?
Okay, well, hey everyone, this is Susan. Welcome to today's webinar. I am liaison to the Membership Development Division at ACCE, so I just want to make sure to say hi to everyone. I'm also Manager of Professional Development. If I want to let you know that if you have any questions or ideas for professional development in the membership area or other areas, please don't hesitate to contact me. I can be reached at smcguire, smcguire at acce.org. And I'm also on the staff listing on the ACCE website, which you can find by clicking on About and then following the links. I also wanted to make sure that you knew where our Membership Development Division page is. You can get there by clicking on Networks on any page of our site, hovering over Divisions, and then clicking on Membership Development Division. And that is all the way to the right. We've tried to put links on that page to all of our Membership Development Division resources so that you can start there and then go wherever you need to on the ACC website. So we have links to our Chamberpedia or information pages on membership development. We have links to recordings of our educational roundtable calls, which we hold 4 times a year. Links to membership-related webinars. We have a little, if you scroll back up there, we have a little section on resources for new membership development professionals, and we also have handouts to our sales training and more. So when you have a moment, check out that page, our Membership Development Division page. If you're not on my Membership Development Division list or our list, I believe you can, there's a link on that page to join, or just email me. Again, smcguire, smcguire at acce.org. Say, I want to get signed up for MDD or Membership Development Division, and I will get you signed up. So at this point, I will turn things back over to Sarah.
Thanks, Susan. So this is great that you have ways to contact us, and I'm here on the staff page. I'm going to go back to the ACCE homepage and begin by showing you where we will find the personalized stats today for the webinar today with our demonstration chamber in dynamic chamber benchmarking, which I will refer to throughout the webinar as DCB. And I will point out to you a couple of important pieces. First, you will need your ACCE login to access DCB. And if you don't know your login, you can get it by the top up here under there's a login, a log out here, just real quick, log in. And if you don't know it, you can recall your password here. I'll go ahead and log in. There are a couple of ways you can access dynamic chamber benchmarking once you have your ACCE login, and I'll demonstrate those couple of different ways that you can do that, and we'll give this just a second to log in. So once you are logged in, dynamic chamber benchmarking recognizes that you are an individual from your chamber. So you can go to DCB from the information section on the website just by clicking information, which is also known as HERO. We call that the HERO acronym, which stands for Help, Expertise, Resources Online. Many of you already know that. And you can get to DCB from the benchmarking menu up here just by clicking on DCB, link that in blue, or scrolling down to the HERO information homepage, and you can click here to get started. Now, if you are already logged into the ACCE website like I am, when you click on that DCB link, it will take you right to the landing page of dynamic chamber benchmarking and recognizes who you are and your chamber exactly. So today we're going to focus mostly on the personalized and customized stats that you can get for your chamber right from DCB, but I also want to point out that you can get to the general membership statistics report, which we just put out about 10 days ago under information and under benchmarking again, and then just by clicking on this membership stats link, and you can see the two ways that you can get to the membership statistics data. Number one is to download the free report for fiscal year 2017, or you can access the customized reports in dynamic chamber benchmarking. And I see I have a typo. We will fix that. Should be 2017. So we'll go back and fix that one. So again, we're highlighting today on DCB what you can pull from dynamic chamber benchmarking, which gives you a deeper dive to do some comparison analysis with chambers that are most like yours, your nearest peers. And I'll be showing you all of that under the reports section of DCB, and what this area is called filters. And we're going to, again, be using a demonstration chamber. But the important point to note about DCB, the difference between that and this general membership statistics report that you can download, in DCB, you can drill down to see chambers most like you by, say, revenue, your function. In my demonstration chamber, this is a chamber with CVB. You can also drill down by membership dues revenue or state or region. And so we can see, again, very specific comparison compared to the nearest peers this way. And a couple of other points, like Susan mentioned, you can always reach out to Susan, but you can always reach out to the HERO staff as well. And inside DCB, we have this live chat that's available Monday through Friday, typically Monday through Friday, but if it is down, you can also still leave a message and we will see that right away. So today we are working with a demo account from a sample chamber with revenue around 3 million, and again with a CVB, so that's why the revenue is a little bit higher. We will create reports because this demonstration chamber has answered all of the questions. Now, if your chamber hasn't answered the questions yet, it's easy to go in, participate in the annual questions for fiscal year 2017. And if you participated in 2016, but not yet for 2017, you can just use the copy prior year data tool on each data entry page. That's going to save you a huge amount of time, and then copy over 2016 into the new fields for 2017. And then you can click save. Just be sure to click save on each page. So again, that's for those of you who have not yet participated, you can still do so. There's no deadline in DCB at this point in time of the year, so you can answer the questions for fiscal year 2017, and then of course run the reports. And that's where I'm going to focus today, is running the reports and looking at some of the analysis here just for membership stats, as well as the chamber report card, which highlights membership stats. And then we will look at some trend analysis from the 5-year trend report, which we can all pull from reports and charts. Again, I'm going to show you that. So I already have my revenue filter set up. I'm going to be looking at chambers with CVB with revenue between 900,000 and 5 million. And that is showing me that I have 11 other chambers with this very exact function and revenue. And we always want to have a wide enough filter to be able to compare to enough chambers. Every chamber that is shown in these reports is actually displayed anonymously, so the data is what we call in the aggregate. And so that protects all of the data, so it's all anonymous. So again, under the reports and charts section here for the operations survey, I set my filters. I'm looking at 11 chambers. I can run these various reports for fiscal year 2017, but you could also go back to any other year and run reports for any year that you have answered data. And again, the important point is there's no deadlines in DCB at this point. You can go back and enter your data for any of these years, and you can just concentrate on fiscal year 2017 as well. So I have already downloaded these couple reports that we're going to be concentrating on today. Again, membership stats report, the report card, which is a one-page Word doc report that shows key performance indicators, especially in membership staffing and revenue. And then we have the operations trend report, which I'll be showing you, and that actually has data that goes back to 2012. So it's showing the aggregate of the responses from the chambers in this filter group going back to 2012. And then I also have pulled up, and we'll take a look at the membership stats report, which is just a brief, it's an abbreviated report from the full operations report. So the member stats report I'll be showing you just looks at retention, cancellations, member stats, number of members, market penetration, members by number of employees, or what we call business size, and then also things like tier dues or fair share, and then member dues revenue, member dues investments. So we'll be examining all of that here as we proceed through the webinar. And it's just important to note that you can do all of this for your very own chamber and run your own comparisons for the size and function that most closely matches yours. And if you have questions when you're setting these filters and looking at the comparisons, please do use our chat. We're here to help you set up the most appropriate kinds of filters and comparisons. We can help you save a favorite. We can also help you save a peer cluster, which is looking at chambers most like yours by name, and you can set up your own group, essentially your own peer cluster group. And also I will just mention, for those of you who are in a chamber community peer group, such as emerging cities, I'm going to pull up a new page here to show you. If you're in a community peer group, such as emerging cities, hometown chambers, metro cities, major cities, university communities, or destination cities council, if you're in any of these, you will see inside the dynamic chamber benchmarking under the peer cluster, you will see a preloaded peer group already, and that is with the chambers who are within that network. And if you have questions about the networks, the community peer groups, again, feel free to contact us. Just use that chat feature inside dynamic chamber benchmarking. And again, if it's down, you can still use it. It will go to our Hero email inbox, and we'll see that right away. So we're going to look just at a couple of reasons why we might want to benchmark. And I have collected a few quotes that are some of my favorites about why data is important. And Carly Fiorina said, the goal is to turn data into information and information into insight. And that's exactly what the benchmarking reports will give you, is insight and help you set goals. And I love this quote here. Most of the world will make decisions by either guessing or using their gut. They will either be lucky or wrong. So it's, again, really helpful. You've got the tool right in dynamic chamber benchmarking to see your stats. Now, I've provided in the presentation how to get over to dynamic chamber benchmarking, and just want to highlight a couple reasons why you might want to benchmark. So it will definitely help you establish a baseline and create some best practices around your membership statistics, retention, first-year retention, help you look at market penetration, and it can help you create healthy competition. It can help you identify areas for improvement, opportunities for improvement. It can help you monitor your organization performance, such as in a dashboard performance type of report. So you can consider these membership stats reports like a dashboard, and you can see, if you're performing under or above your peers. And then because of that, you can manage change and plan for the future. And so again, today we're going to be looking at stats on number of members, the median number of members, the breakdown by business size, and whether that looks at small or large businesses, and then retention stats, median retention of accounts, and retention of dues, as well as first-year retention of number of accounts. And then we're also going to be looking at the member dues revenue, the median minimum dues. This is all within the slide decks that we'll be pulling from Dynamic Chamber Benchmarking. We will also look at average revenue per member and market penetration rate. And then we'll examine the fair share or tiered dues stats that are available in the reports. And again, we're going to be using a demonstration account. And then when you access all of these reports for your own chamber, you'll see the exact same kinds of slide decks that I'll be showing you, but customized to your own chamber, personalized to your own chamber. And then just keeping in mind that the survey data inside DCB does go beyond member stats. You've got revenue breakdown, expense breakdown. There's salary survey reports on a variety of staff positions. That's salary survey is open to the chamber CEO. You have other HR data. So there's a lot of data that you can get in dynamic chamber benchmarking. Again, today we're going to just start by focusing on this membership stats report, and I'll pull this up here. And so again, we're looking at the chamber with a CVB function, and I ran a filter to compare to others in this grouping with revenue between 900,000 and 5 million. So we're looking at about 10 chambers who have participated in these questions that match this comparison group for fiscal year 2017. So every slide deck starts by showing you that cover sheet, and it's editable because it's a PowerPoint in, Microsoft Office product. And so one of the questions I hear quite often is, can I pull apart this report, any of the reports from DCB, and add your own notes, add your own slides, create your own slide deck, customized slide deck? For sure, you can do that. So you could even change up anything here in the cover sheet. Add new slides, pull out slides, do a single slide, and I'll be showing you a little bit more on that as well. But for now, we've got the out-of-the-box membership stats report that comes right from DCB, from that reports and charts area. So we know we're looking at a very specific group, chamber and CVB, for about 10 chambers. If I had answered, if I was just looking at a chamber of commerce, so for those of you who are only Chamber of Commerce and you selected that function, you would see this be the same. 100% of the folks who have answered in this comparison group within this report, you would see Chamber of Commerce. So your slide decks will look a little different when you pull these down. And then it goes right into member retention of accounts. So the great part about this is that each slide will show you the calculation that was used, and you can always go back through and either edit your answer for the fiscal year and save it if you believe there was any kind of mistake, or if you had any kind of update. You can certainly update your answers here, and it shows you the fields that are being calculated upon. So ACCE uses this calculation for member retention of accounts. So we're looking at prior fiscal year member accounts minus the fiscal year cancellation divided by the prior fiscal year member accounts. And in this example, my chamber is in the 8th percentile at 80% retention of accounts. I might use this to set some goals if I want to increase my account retention, maybe create some kind of a membership retention plan, of which we have several types of member retention plans in the samples library, as well as on the member retention Chamberpedia page. And that is, you can obtain that from the membership development division page, or you can ask Hero for some examples of the member retention plans. So again, this might be an area that you identify you would like to focus on more greater retention of number of accounts. And I can see that the median in my group of chambers with CVB has 90% of retention of accounts. The upper percentile is 91%. And while we're talking about percentiles, I'm going to just show you a chart that we have here in support. I'm going to click on the support page, scroll down, and I'm going to show you here, scrolling down, the percentiles. So understanding how DCB is representing the data in percentiles. And so there's the 25th, the 50th or median, and the 75th. Now the median is the middle number where 50% of answers are lower and 50% are higher. And we give an example here of calculating that average median. And then 75th percentile, 75% of the data falls below that. And so you can see in this graphic representation, if you are in the 80th percentile, that means that you're the fourth tallest. 80% of the people are shorter than you if you were the fourth tallest in a group of 20. Sometimes board members like to see this, and you could certainly copy this over and put it into a slide, or just in your own account in Dynamic Chamber Benchmarking, just click on support and scroll down to that image. We'll go back to the membership stats report here, and we were looking at retention of accounts. Now we're going to look at retention of dollars. And so my chamber is performing at the 10th percentile. Again, I might make a goal of getting up to 86 or 87% of retention of dollars. Here again is that calculation. I'm at 82% retention of dues dollars, that's membership dues dollars. And again, how you might get there would be, looking at some goals, looking at your past performance. What have you done in the past for retention? Focusing on, whether it's hands-on, calling your members, door-to-door, visiting members, providing member benefits in more of a drip style campaign. How are you working with your members to really retain them, and retain their dues dollars? So the median grouping for this, again, chambers with CVB is 90% retention of dues dollars. And that upper percentile is 92%. And in a little bit, I'll be showing you that trend report. And the trend report goes and looks back to the 5-year trend analysis, including of retention, member retention of dollars. So that trend analysis will be really helpful. Some chambers will pop in this membership stats report and tie into the dues. The trend report, and you can copy slides over. I'll be showing you that here in a second. So again, just remembering that you can really customize each of these reports in your own way and use them for setting your own goals and review. So then the next slide here is first-year member retention of accounts. And again, my chamber is doing better with first-year retention of accounts here. I'm at the 29th percentile. I still have a ways to go, but I can see that I have 60% first-year member retention of accounts. The median is at 67%. So I'm performing below the median, but just above the 25th percentile. So that's helpful to note. The 75th percentile, the top tier higher performing in this chamber with CVB, is at 73% of retention of first year member accounts. And then we have, within this membership stats slide deck, we have the percentage of canceled members due to business closings. And we show that cancellation again. This would be from fiscal year 2017, from how this chamber had answered the questions. And so it's looking at the number of canceled memberships from business closings divided by the canceled member accounts at the chamber for fiscal year 2017. So in my area, with this comparison grouping, my chamber is at the 68th percentile of percentage of canceled members due to business closings. And so the 75th percentile had 18% of canceled members due to business closing. My chamber had 16%. The median had 15%. And then the 25th percentile had 10%. So in this case, it's a reversal of how we think about it. I'm in the higher performing of number of cancellations. I would rather be down here in the lower percentage of canceled members due to business closings. But if it just depends on your area, what's happening, the changes in your area. So it's just good, very good to monitor boards like this one as well, because it helps you do some comparison, again, like with your retention of accounts. If businesses are closing, there's no way to retain retention of, have a higher retention of number of accounts or dollars. So it's something good to point out. Your board may definitely, ask about that as far as your area, or on the other side of it, looking at business attraction and business retention. So what work is your chamber doing for business attraction and business retention and economic development? And so that might be a key slide that you look at with your board and your key senior staff, and make some new goals about what you can do with business attraction and retention in your area. Now, this next slide is 3 stats combined into one. You have total member accounts in the blue, and then this is my demonstration chamber here. And then we have in the yellow new member accounts for the fiscal year 2017, and in the orange is canceled member accounts. So here's my chamber with total member, new member, and canceled. And then here's the 50th percentile with total member, new member, and canceled member. Now, my numbers are quite high, so this might be something that tells me maybe I entered a number incorrectly, so I might want to go back and just double check, did I answer the questions correctly for the total member accounts. And again, you can edit it, and save how you edited your answers, and then rerun a report. So I can see that I have 1,852 total member accounts, and in fiscal year 2017, I had 381 canceled member accounts. Again, these might be higher or lower. This is just a demonstration chamber that we're looking at today. In the 75th percentile, there were 1,026 total member accounts, 124 new member accounts, and 137 canceled member accounts. And that's just one way to look at that. Member stat slide is that it is 3 data points on one slide. And then we look at market penetration, and we do get a number of questions. I'm going to go back into the DCB platform to show you this. So market penetration rate is calculated by total chamber membership, the number of members, divided by the total number of members of businesses in the service area. And service area is how your chamber defines your geographic region. So if you're in an area that maybe doesn't have any other chambers around you, you would look at, say, your county, number of businesses in the county. So it really depends on how your chamber defines your service area. And then I'll show you in dynamic chamber benchmarking, just pop back there, go to the operations survey section. The number of businesses is under the chamber profile. And we provide a help tip here. So I'm going to click on the details. This is the number of businesses physically located in your chamber service area, defined as the geographic area a chamber actively recruits members from or provides service to. And chambers can use a variety of sources to determine this number. It might be your county, it might be your city, it might be if you have a tool to work with your city and look at the number of business licenses, it might be in your state. or you can use the U.S. Census Bureau total employer establishments as counted by this. You can go to this link under the U.S. Census Bureau. So that is how that market penetration rate is calculated. And I can see that I have a 26% market penetration rate with a number of businesses in my service area. And the 75th percentile has 29% market penetration rate. So my chamber is performing well in this area, 71st percentile. The median has a market penetration rate of 18%. Again, that's just for this specific chamber with CVB group with that revenue between 900,000 and 5 million. So that we were capturing about 10 chambers that we were looking at. And then this is the slide that shows you the number of members by employee size. So a way to interpret that is small business, medium-sized business, or large corporation, larger or corporate businesses. And so my chamber is on the left. The average chamber from this revenue grouping, again, that I'm looking at this report, chambers with CVB, that's that average chamber here. So I can see at my chamber, 60% of my members have 1 to 5 employees. And then in the largest size, in the gray, my chamber has 5% of businesses with 100 plus employees. In comparison of my grouping chambers with CVB from revenue 900,000 to 5 million, 46% have a small business, so 1 to 5 employees. 46% of my members are small business. And then middle size, 6 to 20 employees, 26 chambers, 26% from the average chamber, and my chamber had 20%. And then the next size up, 21 to 50 employees, 10% of those members at my chamber, whereas 16% at the other comparison set for this chamber with CVB. And then the next size up is 51 to 100, that's 6%, and then 5% at my chamber. So that does help you, again, with some other business retention, business attraction tools, business, your member recruitment plan. Maybe your area has a huge number or large number of small businesses. Maybe they're more larger. So it does help you give some analysis and perspective on your chamber, your business makeup, and who makes up your members compared to other chambers in your nearest peer group. The next slide here is showing us revenue per chamber member. And again, that calculation is described on the slide, the total chamber revenue divided by the total number of member accounts. My chamber is showing up in the gold here, and the revenue per chamber member at my chamber is 1,673. The 50th percentile is 2,680. So I might be looking at that total number of member accounts with my total revenue. It might be having me examine my dues, my dues level and rates, whether you're fair share or hybrid or tiered dues. It might help you look at some other things like sponsorship dollars and other maybe corporate investments that you might have at your chamber or might want to develop to bring up your total chamber revenue. So it, again, just helps you see in comparison with other, in this grouping, chambers with CVB, 50th percentile, I'm performing below, just a little bit below the 25th percentile, and I might be looking at other revenue opportunities to increase my revenue per chamber member. And then this is a fairly new slide that we just introduced that's looking at just the base investment. So we had a member ask us about the minimum dues, if we could add a slide in to see what the base investment is. Now this is across the board, whether it's fair share, hybrid, or tiered dues. And so there's a question inside DCB that just says, what are your minimum dues or the base investment for the fiscal year? And so I can see my chamber is at 400, and performing at the 81st percentile. The median here is at 358. The 75th percentile is 374 as the minimum dues-based investment. So that can really help. If my chamber was perhaps below the 25th percentile, below $300 minimum dues-based investment, I'd look at this and say, oh, other chambers with CVB in my grouping are charging more, have a higher base investment. I might look at raising my dues for my members. And I do see some questions coming in. We will definitely answer those here in a few minutes. So I also want to look at, we're almost wrapped up here with the membership stats report. We have average member dues investment. So this is, again, across the board, whether it's fair share, hybrid, or tiered. It's the calculation of the total dollar value of the member accounts divided by the number of member accounts. So my chamber is at 477 as the average member dues investment. The 50th or median is at 486. So just below the median. That's just a good analysis, again, to see how your total dues are comparing to your peers. And then the next slide here is brand new as well. We just added whether the chamber has the tiered dues structure. So in my group, my peer group, chambers with CVB, 55% do have tiered dues in place. 27% said no, they do not have tiered dues, and 18% have a hybrid model. So when you run these reports for your own chamber, and again, it might be a chamber with CVB and economic development, or it might just be a chamber only, you'll be able to run that and see how your chamber is comparing and whether you have tiered dues, fair share, or a hybrid model. And that may help you make some decisions if you're looking at changing your dues structure. And then we look at some other data here as far as impact. So the membership, the number of years using tiered dues formula. My demonstration chamber, I have had tiered dues in place for more than 5 years. And then others were in the same grouping. 50% of the chambers with CVB in this group also had more than 5 years of tiered dues in place. And then the next slide is the membership impact. And 40% of chambers, along with mine, said that it increased the number of members. 10% said it decreased the number of members. And then another 10% said they did not know the impact. And then here, 10% said there was no impact on the number of members. The next one is on the revenue, and 50% said that having tiered dues increased the membership revenue. Again, this is just for my chamber with CVB grouping. 20% said it decreased the membership revenue. And so these might be areas that you look at and say, we want to put together a test group or a focus group and look at, do we have too many dues levels with our tiered dues? Do we want to simplify? These would be signals or flags to help you look at what you're offering to your members and then monitor this over the years, the revenue and membership impact of tiered dues. And then we also have a final slide in the membership stats report that looks at the total annual member dues revenue. And again, my chamber is up here at $883,000 in total member dues revenue. The median for this grouping is at $349,000. So again, this might be an outlier. It might be something that I want to look at and say, did I enter this number correctly for fiscal year 2017? And if I need to update it, I can certainly go into DCB and select the area that you want to change, such as chamber member stats here. And then you can update your answers. When you update an answer, it will actually, the field will turn to green, and that's your signal to scroll down and be sure to click Save. Save is the same as Submit. It's a system that is live 24/7 in the cloud. So think of Save as Submit or Submit as Save. They are the same thing. Back under Reports and Charts, I want to show you, again, I've already downloaded a couple of reports. I'm going to show you the one that we call the Key Performance Indicators report. It has almost the same exact stats that I just went through in the membership stats report, but this one is a one-page, no chart, no graph. just straight numbers, my chamber, my percentile compared to the 25th, 50th, and 75th. Excuse me. And so again, because this is a word product, you could delete a column, you can change colors, you can do any kind of editing on this word report. And here on the Key Performance Indicators report, again, we have some measures such as staffing, and then here's the same that we were just talking about in memberships, such as retention of dollars accounts. I can just see straight across the board, my chamber had 82% of retention of dollars, the 50th percentile had 90%. And then down below the membership stats are the finance, revenue breakdown, member dues breakdown, events, grants, economic development, and so forth. So, and then the other one report I want to show you is that trend report that you can download. And again, every report you download from DCB has a cover sheet. This one describes how the data is represented or displayed in the multi-year trend chart. And then again, my chamber in this demonstration chamber has participated every year. So I plotted in the blue, and you can see that we have a number of chamber revenue trends and retention trends, stats trends right here in this 5-year report. And we're going to be seeing again the 25th, the 50th percentile, and the 75th percentile. Here's that retention of accounts in trends, and we can see what's across the board for the 25th, the 50th, and the 75th, and where I perform. We have first year retention of accounts trends as well, some increases and some decreases over the past couple of years in retention, first year retention, and then retention of dollars. Again, some of these will have some swings up and down, and this is helpful to do some comparison and some goal setting for the previous or for the future. We have here the current membership, as well as you can see here some trends in fiscal year 2017, 2016, 2015. Again, a few hills and valleys here. And then market penetration rate, we also have, again, which we were talking chamber membership divided by total number of businesses. And we can see the trends there across the board for the 25th, 50th, and 75th percentile. So that trend report shows you some stats such as revenue, and then also the memberships, some of the membership stats. And we can see minimum dues, base investment, as well as the member dues, the total dues investment, number of canceled businesses. Now, this is definitely an outlier that I can go back and correct in fiscal year 2017, and so forth. So these are all, again, reports that you can download and edit. And just a quick note before I look at questions here, you can get all of this under the Reports and Charts tab under the Operations Survey. And then if you want to see how your chamber compares individually, question by question, you can certainly do that under the Compare by Question tab. And this is also really handy. I'm just going to show you really quick under the Chamber Members section. You can set the same filters, same comparison. If I want to look at the number of member accounts, just that question, I can see exactly where my chamber falls compared to the filter group, the comparison group, the 25th percentile, the median, and the 75th. And you can take this little icon and pop it up into an on-demand chart, which you can download into its own PowerPoint slide. And so you can piece together slides this way individually to really look at individual questions and how your chamber answered. So if we look at that again, number of member accounts from fiscal year 2017, my chamber is at 1,852. The median is at 704. Let's look at questions here, and I'm going to go back and let's see here. Okay, great. And somebody just asked, said that you're experiencing a busy time and need to revisit the webinar. And I just want to mention that you can certainly view this because it will be recorded, or it has been recorded, and you can view it from professional development and our webinar catalog here, professional development, ACCE University and webinars, or you can access this webinar recording from information, and then we have HERO recorded webinars under resources, and then this link here will take you to previously recorded HERO specific webinars. And then also, again, anytime we can help you, you can get that assistance right inside Dynamic Chamber Benchmarking from the chat. And then I'm also going to show you where you can access us for help under information, and then click on help, and this goes to our virtual reference desk with our phone number. You can click on the email. You can use, again, that live chat right inside DCB. Or if you'd like to see this very specifically for your chamber, the HERO team is happy to set up an e-tour or a Dynamic Chamber Benchmarking consultation with your chamber, and we can help you set some goals and look at the comparison filters for your own chamber and help you run some different reports right in DCB. So let's see, are there any other questions? Happy to take
Sarah,
any other questions.
any questions?
Okay, great. Feel free to send your questions away to HERO, or call us, and we're available in the chat. And I think we'll, with that, go ahead and conclude today's webinar. And I just want to thank you for your attention and for your interest in the survey, the membership stats. And again, thank you for your time.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.